There's our guy Doubles. It's a little chilly in Regina today. It is a mid-October, cloudy, cool, 8 degrees. What's the weather like in Florida today? Darian, give us a little update in FLA.
Beautiful and sunny. Mid-80s today, which is perfect. Not too hot. Slight breeze off the water. It's just amazing.
But you've said when we've chatted before, you like this time of year weather in Saskatchewan because you're a guy that would sweat a lot. So when it cooled down a little bit, is this some of your favorite football weather? About 10 degrees, not a lot of wind.
Oh, that's perfect. That's what football is to me. Cool, not too hot, and you don't have to worry about the electrolytes that the guys have to use and all this extra stuff you have to do when it's super hot outside. So football weather to me is just cool, nice little breeze, and a jacket for the fans. That's perfect weather.
As a quarterback, did you ever wear a glove on your non-throwing hand when it got cold?
Early on in my career, I did. And, I just did that more so for grip. But, as technology improved and over time, they made the hand warmers that you were able to put inside the packs of hand warmers that you were able to put inside the actual hand warmer. And it kept my hands warm and kept a good grip on the football. So early on, before the technology was passed and you had to do what you had to do, the glove was the best way to go.
All right. Your former teammate, Ryan Dinwiddie, and his Toronto Argonauts showed up Friday at Mosaic. They played a gritty football game, and they hung in there. I thought the Riders, it was going to get out of control. No, they had other plans. That was a team. They were playing with pride. You could tell, it meant something to those guys, even when they knew they weren't going to win.
Yeah, I mean, look, I always said that some of the toughest games you're going to play it's against teams that have nothing to play for really as far as the standing goes, but they're playing for everything because of their livelihood. Their jobs are on the line. So I expected Toronto to come out and put up a huge fight just like they did. These guys get paid. They're pro athletes as well. And, they have something to play for. They want to put some good tape on film moving into the offseason. You never know who's watching. GMs definitely take a look at these games and see who's playing hard and see who from other teams they could use to fit their scheme. So you're not just playing for your job and the team you are on at the moment. You're playing for every team across the league.
Now, Seth Daggy was a one-time Saskatchewan Roughrider, and Jarrett Daggy told the story about when they came and they met you. I have ultimate respect after watching him on Friday. Was taken out of the game a couple of times. He hit his head, concussion protocol, all of that. Do you remember the story and meeting a young Jarrett Daggy when you were a rider?
I do. Actually, myself and Seth, we became pretty close, because a lot of the times, as older guys, we don't really take in the younger guys with warm feelings and regards and help these guys out. But Seth, it was just something about him, man. He was hungry. He was a young guy who just wanted to learn. And that's what kind of attracted me to Seth. So, just watching his brother out there, the toughness, he's showing everything that I saw in Seth. And, I wish Jarrett much luck going forward because, he's shown some flashes of being a good quarterback in this league, and I hope he can build on that.
Riders win 27-19. They lock up the West Final at home. Checked box. Boom. Then the news comes out yesterday. Jeremy O'Day and Corey Mace get extensions. Another checked box on the Rider Nation list. Those were no-brainer moves, were they not? Those extensions?
Absolutely. Those guys deserve it. I mean, seeing where they came from 3 years ago and then bringing in Coach Mace, making it to back-to-back Western Finals, he's just showing that he's a player's coach. He's a guy that the players love to play for. He relates to them. He's been in the fire, breakup champion. So there isn't anything that Coach Mace hasn't done as a player where he can't spew that knowledge down to the guys. So guys typically are drawn to players, coaches, especially a guy like Coach Mace, who seems to just have the locker room by the hand and knows how to handle each and every guy in there. And for Jeremy, I mean, my former teammate, this is just huge for him. I want to congratulate him on air because this is well-deserved for Jeremy. Coming from the Chris Jones era into where he is now, coming into his own, having the guys and the roster that he pretty much put together, and now he can finally say that these are his guys. So super proud of Jer and Coach Mace, and well deserved.
Mace, yes, earned it. The O'Day thing for me is a little different because he's been around 25, 26 years. Darian, you've seen Rider Nation at their best, but you've also seen them at their worst when things don't go well. And Jeremy has had to live through that. Like, I can't imagine when you guys couldn't leave your house when things were going bad. You can't go to a grocery store. You can't go to a restaurant. Imagine being the general manager of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. So there was a clip yesterday, and you can tell he was getting emotional. Like, he's been through it all and come out the other side and stayed classy. That's probably, and it's probably incredibly hard at times, Darian. Like, you've had people in your face telling you that you're no good. Like, how hard is that?
No question. It's very hard, but Jeremy's been through it. When you've gone through it as a player, you pretty much have a good feel for how the fans are, how everything runs in Saskatchewan. You understand the amount of pressure that's on you, not only as a representative of the province. So he's been through it, and then to have his head being called for a few years ago, people wanting to run him out of town, saying that he's not worthy of the job, that he was just handed the job. So I'm just glad that he was given the opportunity to show what he could do with his guys. He has his guys in there now, and he's showing that once you give him full reign and he can do things in his way, he's worth every dollar that he's getting and the extension that he has. So, congratulations to Jeremy, man. He is well deserved.
17 of his draft picks are on the roster. If that's not putting a stamp on the team. So, Darian, this is an off-the-cuff idea, and I don't know what your plans are like, but how about we fly you up to Winnipeg Friday? We do a little autograph signing before the game for all the Rider fans that are going to be making the trek to Winnipeg. Are you up
You're
for it?
You're trying to get me in trouble. No way.
Is the passport?
I don't want to.
No.
I don't want to get into that hostile environment. Not now. They have so much to play for. They're counting this win, so I do not want to be sitting outside of that stadium, with an environment that's going to be like Friday night.
Oh, they're fighting for their playoff lives. Jake Mayer is going to start in place of Trevor Harris. AJ Ouellette is going to get rest. But from the Bombers side of things, Zach's going to test that secondary. There's some new guys back there. He's going to do that, and they're going to want to get the run game going because it's supposed to be like cloudy, rainy, and 8 degrees. That's running the football weather.
Yeah, this is what Western football is like come October, November. This is what I talked about back in May when it comes to the best teams in the West. We're going to see what they can do when the weather gets cold. You can't throw the ball. It's windy. You can only throw the ball for possibly 2 quarters. You have to establish some sort of run game. And, this is right up Winnipeg's alley. And like you said, this is a game that they're going to do everything in their power to win. And, it could possibly have been a trap game or tough for the Riders if they had played their starters, because I just think it'll be 2 different type of intensities between those teams. And, you don't want your starters to go out there after you've clinched the West. You have nothing to really play for, and you don't want to go against a team that's has everything on the line.
The Edmonton Elks are in BC on Friday. And the Elks are writing a nice story, keeping their slim, but they're there, playoff hopes alive after beating Winnipeg last week, 25-20. But they're going in to play the Lions. And the Lions, this is as good as they've looked all season. But Cody's a gamer. You got Nathan Rourke. Let's start with Matthew Betts. When you knew there was a defensive end or a D lineman that was kind of in the zone and on fire, what did that do to you to a quarterback? Because it seems like right now Matthew Betts is a bit unstoppable. How would you approach a guy that was on a hot streak when you knew he was lined up across from you?
Well, during the week, I'm sitting down with the offensive coordinator and seeing how many quick passes, screens, swing passes to the back out of the backfield, things that could get the ball out of the quarterback's hands. I mean, how many of those do we have on the play sheet? Because you do not want to sit in drop back football against a guy who's playing the type of football that Betts is playing. So I'm sure what Cody's known for getting rid of the ball fast. He doesn't hold on to the ball a lot. If he does, he gets out of the pocket. So I don't really expect a change of game plan for Edmonton. You just have to know where Betts is at all times because he's a game wrecker for sure.
It does. It seems strange that when there's 24 players on the field, but yet one person can like dominate and like wreck a game plan. He seems to be it. Nathan Rourke, and last hour when we were chatting with Dave earlier in the show, we love the arm, but it seems that he's getting smarter when he chooses to run. And that's kind of made him extra dangerous because it's not just running with reckless abandon anymore. Does it seem like he's picking his spots?
Definitely. I mean, he's learning from Buck. I mean, watching Buck Pierce throughout his career when we were competing against each other, he took some vicious hits. And, I'm sure Buck is telling Nathan how to preserve yourself. It's cool to have a 50-yard play, but it's even better to slide after a 15-yard run and you're ready to go for the next play. You're not waking up, shaking your head because you're trying to gather yourself after taking a big hit. So, I mean, what better coach to have in your ear about protecting yourself than a coach who's had a whole bunch of concussions and understands what it's like to take some big hits down the field. So he's playing smart football. He's getting rid of the ball, and like you said, he's protecting himself, and that's huge, especially this time of year.
Who was it that had to pull Darian back in your day when you take off and run? Like, who was the guy that had to say, like, Darian? All right, hold on a sec.
You know what? Early on, it was Rob Bagg and Weston Dressler. I mean, they would see me get up slowly sometimes and be like, okay, Dubs, like, you can't take those hits. And then, as I got older and I started missing a game or two here or there, I'm like, you know what? I need to start sliding because it's October and November games that are very important, and you have to make sure you're there for that. So a lot of it comes from age and experience, but you definitely have to have your guys in your ear to let you know that you're trying to do a little too much and you need to slow down some.
Montreal's going to be at Ottawa. I tried to watch that game on Monday, but it was getting out of hand. It was just Ottawa's overmatched. Montreal is just, now that they're full rosters back, Darian, aren't they dangerous? If they end up in first place in the East, that wouldn't surprise me how that plays out. They, to me, seem like the most complete football team in the CFL right now, that where all three units are doing what they need to do. Nothing against the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but offensively, we're not necessarily clicking on all cylinders. Montreal seems to be doing it all on all three cylinders.
Yeah, they've gotten their quarterback back at the perfect time. I mean, you want to, the last 4, 5, 6 games of the season, that's when you want to hit your stride. That's when you want to be playing your best football. They got Davis Alexander back at the perfect time. And even earlier in the season, I mean, at the beginning of the season, we felt as if this was one of the best teams in the league, if not the best team in the league. And then the injury to your quarterback can definitely derail, your projections on that. Having him back and seeing the explosiveness that he gives this team, the chemistry that he has with their wide receivers, just the energy and everything this guy brings to Montreal, like I said, whenever you're playing well at this part of the season, and they seem to be playing the best football in the CFL right now, this is definitely a team that if they can get that, find a way to get the home field playoff game, the East Final at home, I think it'll be a cakewalk for them.
How happy were you to finally see Vernon Adams and the Calgary Stampeders win that football game? They looked pretty good last week, beating the Hamilton Ticats. There was a lot of old play VA from early in the season that showed up, and they made Hamilton look pretty pedestrian at times.
They did. And I mean, this is what you expected from Calgary. I think they showed this earlier in the season. I think the question's still out on Hamilton and how good they really are. I know they had a win streak earlier in the season, and the writers and everyone was high on this team, but they just haven't shown the consistency to go out there and be able to compete on a weekly basis with the best teams. I mean, they beat who they're supposed to beat, but I'm not sure if they've had a key win this entire year. So, they're winning games. They're first in the East at the moment, but I think the question mark is still out on
Yep.
Hamilton. How good are they? Are they the best team in the East? We don't know, but we just don't know enough
No.
about Hamilton right now. We know they have big playability, but we still don't know how consistent they are.
I'll agree with you because of the 6 teams that are going to make the playoffs. To me, the whatever the crossover team is, I trust more than the Hamilton Ticats, just because of
Exactly.
what it would take. So I'm with you on that. When Hamilton could put it all together, they can make it look very easy, but they also can make it look incredibly hard. And
I know.
Calgary looked dominant last week. They're going to play the Argos this week. Their magic number is down to 1. I expect another gutsy effort from Toronto, but I just don't know going on the road again. And Dave Dickinson at home, and with Dedrick Mills in that run game,
Yeah.
I think
Calgary
Toronto's in tough.
they just have too much to play for. They have too much to play for. Toronto really doesn't have much to play for. And when you're dealing with the team, especially, look, man, the West is just so battle tested, right? And I say this each and every year, and it's no disrespect to the East. I mean, they get in these Grey Cup games and they actually win. So you have to give them credit when credit is due. But when it comes to regular season and being battle tested and going through a gauntlet, I mean, there's nothing tougher than the West ever since I've been affiliated with the CFL. So the same for this year. These Western teams are battle tested, going to slug it out until the final whistle of the regular season.
When you were a player, did you ever have any players only meetings for the Saskatchewan Roughriders?
Of course, I think it's something that every team goes through. I mean, when you're struggling, and unfortunately, you mainly have players only meetings when you're struggling. You never seem to have them when everything is going well. You just sit there and listen to whatever the head coach says. But when you're struggling and you're trying to figure out what's going on and figure out the mood of the team and what guys are feeling, you have these players only meetings. So I've been a part of a couple, and I've definitely called them. And for the most part, they work. If you have the right type of leadership and the right guys in the locker room, then it's for the best.
Well, because your neighbor Tua Tagovailoa, and you've probably seen this clip. After they lose last week to the Chargers, he comes out and said, "Guys are now skipping the players-only meetings, which they've had multiple of." Like, you're shaking your head right now. Should somebody just tell Tua, "Shut up," and tell the PR staff, "Do not get this guy in front of a microphone. He is killing us."
Yeah, I mean, Tua should get the feel from the guys and know that he has to shut up. I mean, whenever a guy doesn't show up or shows up late to a players-only meeting, then that just means he doesn't respect the quarterback or he doesn't respect whoever called that meeting. So, I mean, Tua should just take that as he's just lost the team. I mean, I don't think he's playing well enough for him to even call a players-only meeting. I mean, he should be one of the guys in the back of the meeting just sitting there listening to the guys and raising his hand saying that he needs to improve his play, because the way he's playing, he has no right to call a meeting and try to motivate other guys when he's one of the weakest parts of the team right now.
See, I would love to know, just in talking about this, in your brain, the players that flashed through your mind that would have handled the Tua Tagovailoa to be like, "Sit down, shut up, you don't do this." Like, all of the players that you would have played with that we probably all know, and how they would have lost their mind. Miami is playing Cleveland this week. You said Shedeur Sanders could be the starter by week 4. He's only a play away. Dylan Gabriel. Miami and Cleveland, that's torture, right? If anybody sits down to watch that. Now, I don't think Mike McDaniel's the problem. He's got a quarterback problem. He's just a coach lost in the weeds. If they lose to Cleveland, do you have to blow that up and get rid of the coach and the quarterback?
You know what? Your hands are tied with the quarterback, right? He just signed a huge deal. You get rid of Tua, you take a major cap hit, and I mean, who are you going to put in his place to even get half of the type of production that he's given? I mean, you can sit there and say that because he's struggling, you should just put another guy in there. But look, it's so hard to find a quarterback that can have some success in the NFL. So you can't just get rid of a guy, let alone a guy making over $200 million. So, I mean, look, I think the team has just, It's just done. From the GM down to the head coach down to the quarterback, everyone seems to have just lost this team. There's no respect. The guys don't respect each other, and Miami's a tough place to play, not only on the field but off the field. So if you can't handle yourself, or you're not having much success on the field, there are a ton of distractions down there that can get your mind out of football way of thinking. So I think a lot of that's going on as well.
Why don't we just trade for Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals are down with him in a couple weeks? I love that story. I love that Joe, because he said you only get a chance to play in the NFL once, and when that's over, it'll be over for good. And I'm going to keep going as long as I can. There are some juicy games this week. I like that Rams game taken. I ever since Jacksonville was on primetime football, I'm a Jags fan. They're going to be playing over in England. You've got the Eagles at the Vikings. That's good this week. How about those New England Patriots? Commanders, Cowboys. Darian, the other night, how bad do you feel for Jaden Daniels? It was a wet ball. The exchange to the quarterback leads to the fumble, which leads to the drive, and they lose. I thought Washington played scrappy in that game, coming back the way they did. Yeah. I like what the Commanders have.
Oh, yeah, they're solid, man. Dan Quinn is an amazing coach. I'm a big fan of coaches that, are motivators and have the team and the team respects. So you can see that this Washington team respects their coach. And, you just feel bad for Jaden Daniels when it comes down to a play like that. The quarterback center exchange is something that should be routine, and when it's not, it's just a huge letdown. So you feel bad, but he's a good quarterback. He'll bounce back, and this will be a good game in Dallas. Dallas still has hope at the division with Philly losing and only having 3 losses. So as bad as it seems for the Cowboys, they still have an opportunity to get atop of that division.
Monday Night Football, Tampa Bay at Detroit. If you had a vote, is Baker Mayfield up in your voting system for most valuable player this year in the NFL with what he's done so far through 6 games?
I think so. I think he's been playing the most consistent football by far. No one expected Tampa to have this much success early on. So I think you have to look at him as a front runner at the moment. I know a lot of people are saying that what Mahomes has done over the past 3 games, and you maybe need to just reassert him back at the top, which is well deserved for him. But I mean, consistently, Baker Mayfield has just been playing the back ball in the league so far this year. I'm not surprised. I think he's very underrated. And, this will be a great game between Tampa and Detroit, 2 Titans and 2 of the best teams in the NFC going at it, and should be a good one.
Okay, so just to confirm, we're not buying you a plane ticket to Winnipeg for Friday. I just want to let you know, just in case like one of the travel coordinators listening. All right, no, that's a no. Okay. The special.
Hopefully I can be in Winnipeg for the Grey Cup instead. That'll be a better trip.
Nice.
When we can rub it in a little bit more. No one's expecting the Riders to win this game with all the starters that they're sitting out. So it'll be better if I'm there when we're favored
when it matters.
Something.
Exactly. All right, nice. It's Double Talk, special Wednesday edition with Darian Durant. As always, sir, we appreciate your time. We're going to take a break. When we come back,